I used alcohol and drugs to stop having to feel anything.
Yeah.
And when I got sober, it was like, wait a minute, I need a new solution. So like people always say like, oh, my problem was alcohol and drugs. Like, no, that was my problem was me.
Yeah.
My fear, my worry, my anxiety, my selfishness, my self-pity, my jealousy, my envy. I could name them. I say them every single morning. I know what my defects are.
Damn.
So alcohol and drugs were the solution. When I had a fear, I drank a drug. And I'm not gonna lie, it worked. So it's funny. It's like there was this imaginary line. And drinking and drugging was fun. I was able to talk to the girl who I couldn't talk to. That was the liquid elixir, right?
Yeah.
But there was this imaginary line. I can't tell you exactly when, but when I stepped over it.
Guys, before we get started, just want to let you know, if you have any questions for us, please click the link below. You could ask us any questions via email, and we'll get back to you by the end of the episode. All right, guys, we are here for episode 25. We have very special guests with us, Matt, who I was fortunate enough to get introduced to by our buddy Lex Knapp, who's going to be here next week. We met for the first time at Thrive with Billy. We had great conversations with him. He's doing nothing but great things. He's been on an awesome self-improvement journey. So, Matt, we're very excited to have you today, man. Thank you for coming.
Thank you guys for having me so much. It's funny how God works and putting us all together.
Yeah, it was wild. I remember walking in, and that was my first time at Thrive. So you get there, and you went up to Pete, and then me and you were hanging out in the one sauna while they were in the cold plunges. Bro, your story was really impressive, and I mean, your journey is from where you were to where you are today, just pure perseverance, hard work, and ultimately self-improvement.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I'm sure we'll get into it a little bit more. It's if only I thought that, right? If only I could see a little bit of my own self-worth.
Yeah, but if you don't see it, I'll tell you. I mean, I left that sauna and left that session at Thrive, and I knew that ultimately you needed to be on this podcast with me and Pete because I know how I felt hearing what you had to say. Forget about the struggles, forget about your success, just in overcoming whatever and your outlook on it. There's people that need to hear that because they need to know it's okay to stare shit times in the face and know it's not going to last. Like it ultimately, if you don't let it last, it's not gonna.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's just funny how things work out. Now, I don't know if I've ever told you guys like exactly how. So like I moved down to Manahawkin October of 21. So like
From where?
So I'm a North Jersey boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Bergen County, grew up in Bergen County, was in Hoboken for the last 7 years. So me and my girl have a beach house down at Beach Haven West. We love it down there. We sell the house, get a full time. But, I'm not going to lie. I was a little nervous. Like, I don't have any friends down here. I have a couple boys kind of like you. Like, we talk about real stuff.
Yeah.
The one guy I love so much, he moved to Florida. So we talk on the phone, but I'm like, this sounds corny, but like I started praying to God. I'm like, can you just hook me up with some good people down here? Like, I got the businesses, I got my family, which is more than enough, but it's nice to have other men that could talk about shit like this.
Network, bro.
Yep. So I pray and I pray. Mark Gray walks into Retro Fitness. Oh, I'm looking for sponsorship. I coach a wrestling team. You should come down. I meet Lex. Well, I'm going through now. I've known Lex for like a year. I'm going through something, man. I'm really hurting. This is about 6 months ago. He's like, maybe less. He's like, I got this podcast. You guys, you have to listen to it. What you're going through, they just talked about. So I'm like, all right, send it over, man. Send it over. It's your guys' podcast. A month or two after that, I'm at Thrive by myself, self-improvement journey. And Pete just walks in. I'm like, dude, I know that guy. So from that prayer, I wound up having 4 pretty friggin' awesome people in my life.
It's
man.
funny
Very grateful for it.
how the intervention works, right? So like we were talking before, you pray for a solution or whatever, you ask God for some assistance and guidance, and it might not be how you want immediately, but look how that worked out. Like we didn't have to go to Thrive that day, and you didn't have to be there if we went.
Yeah.
But something in the universe ultimately pulled us together.
100%.
Maybe I needed to hear your story and talk to you that day more than you needed to link up with a couple good guys that were solid. Yeah. So the feeling's beneficial.
We were talking right before we started shooting about like some different a different prayer and some gratitude and some prayer and kind of taking some of the pressure that we have on kind of off and having some of these conversations out loud. And Matt brought up something similar to what I do, which is praying for loved ones and all these things. And we were saying that we're praying, obviously, that we want them to do really well, but sometimes that prayer is going to come in some type of hardship. Now, we're not going to pray that they go through hard times, but if we only pray that everything is just going to be perfect for everybody else, we're going to set unrealistic expectations. And sometimes that person that we're praying for, sometimes they need some type of struggle to be able to kind of get on that self-improvement journey and come on the other side of it.
Well, struggle makes you stronger in the end, and you don't know. Sometimes good things have to fall apart, or you got to face that adversity to see other opportunities. I mean, if you got blinders on and you're just walking around like shit's great, you'll never see the next move. Why do you need to improve if everything is perfect?
Yeah, I've actually felt that. I felt that when rates were really low.
Well, you didn't have to. You barely had to work for it.
Yeah, and it was like things are coming in, and I, in my mind, I was just expected like this is just how things are going to go from here on out.
Yeah,
I just like, oh, okay.
It's like a conveyor belt. You
Yeah,
don't ever,
people are just going to blow me up all the time, and
There's
rates are going to stay low forever, and it's
When
always going to be like
going
this.
like the best, like think about the times where everything was going like perfect, and you think that's the best feeling you ever have, but it gets stagnant. The best feeling I've ever had is when I've been through a really, really shitty couple weeks, maybe months. And that one day you finally wake up and you're driving to work and like the sun is a little like shinier again. Yeah. The leaves are a little bit more colorful again. And you're like, yo, I got through that.
Yeah, you're
like, that was
appreciating
tough.
it. Yep.
And I got through that. And to go back to the prayer, it's like, if you truly believe, and it's totally cool, man, religion, spirituality, two different things. I'm spiritual. I believe in a God. I believe he's everything. Either he's everything or nothing. So if I truly believe he's everything, then I believe that whatever he wants for me is what it should be. So if I'm starting to pray for other people, like I need this person to have that, like isn't that kind of egotistical? That's a scary hole to go down because now I got resentments against God, and I don't want to be resentful against him.
100%, man.
Yeah, like last night I got this puppy. The puppy's here with me. If anybody hears it crying, I apologize. But we took a family walk last night. So it was me, my 3 young kids, the new puppy, my dog Tank, and my wife. We get home, Max wanted to ride his bike. I get on my BMX bike that Pete so graciously pushed me to get because I had to have it.
That's awesome.
And Max stopped to play with some of the kids in the neighborhood. And I sat on the bike. And like I said before, I've been practicing telling God that I'm more appreciative for certain things. And I found myself always in the rhythm where you're always almost asking for something. Yeah. And I don't want it to just be me asking. I want to give a little bit too. And giving, you have to give thanks, right? So I don't go to church. It's not my thing. I have my relationship. So while I sat on my BMX bike after walking my beautiful puppy and my other dog with my beautiful kids, I took a minute watching Max, and I thank God for the moment, because listen, in June I died, bro. So like I have to be thankful for the little shit like that. Right. Like I still get the opportunity to walk these beautiful dogs with my beautiful little girls, my beautiful son, my wife. I have to be able to take that enjoyment. Like, money's great if you have it. Money's okay if you don't. It's not everything. No. It's not. Just those moments of clarity. But I wouldn't have that outlook if I didn't face fierce adversity.
That's what I was thinking, man. It was almost like your journey needed that.
Yeah,
you
I needed that
eye-opener.
Because I'll be honest, there was a point in time, probably up until that moment, where it's all about money. Money's going to make me happier. If I'm angry today, I got to work harder to do more tomorrow. Whatever it was. I could buy this, I could buy that, maybe I'll smile. Right. Truth is, you're just filling a sack without a bottom. Yep. It doesn't make a difference.
So unfulfilled at that point.
Yeah, and like I do all right, but we're not hitting any home runs. I'm not, it's not like I can do whatever I want.
You got runners on base, baby.
Nah, but I'm better than I was a year ago. I'm better than I was 6 months ago. Mostly because of a guy like Dave Seidenberg, who I am signing up with his program for coaching. And I'm excited for the influence he's had. Now I know he's had a great influence on you as well. And that motivates me even more and gets me more excited.
For sure. Tell us a little bit more about how everything's been going with Seide.
Yeah, man. The shameless plug here because he deserves it.
No, that's why I mentioned that.
Yeah, the inner champ, man. So I like to think I've been on this journey for 8.5 years. I got sober 8.5 years ago. But listen, things happen in that time, right? So like 8.5 years ago, I'm about to pull a trigger and blow my brains out. Like I'm done. Like, and not that done, like the done where like you're trying to get a little attention, tell the ex-girl to get her back. Like, no. Done. It was my family will be better off without me. Like, I'm gonna actually help people by this.
And you told me this story when we were in the sauna. And I remember being so impressed by the fact that ultimately I'm a stranger to you. Maybe you saw some episodes, listened to us a little bit. but you were willing in that 10-minute span to get vulnerable and like put your shit on the table. Like a lot of people aren't there, especially men today.
Yeah.
Especially with shit like that. 'Cause, I mean, I've said it here. I think if everybody's being honest, there's no one that could say they haven't thought about suicide.
Especially
at one
the
point
end
or
of the day
another.
that you kind of just met us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of people, maybe they'll tell
A little
somebody.
Yeah.
Here's
But-
the thing. I'm not trying to kiss your guys' ass either, but I didn't just meet you. I watched
Right.
you guys on this podcast and like, here I am. Like, I know what I need to do. I need to get humble and I need to get honest.
Yeah.
That's what that you're talking about, that void.
Yeah.
I tried money. I tried porn. I tried food. None of it
Everything,
works.
yeah.
Alcohol, drugs. That's why I'm sober. But when I get honest and I get humble, that's the void that actually will stay.
Yeah.
So you guys, I've seen you, like, it felt like I did know you guys. And it was cool because I tell my friend, the one in Florida, the guy's a great guy. I wish he was here. He'd be a great view. But I tell him, like, I found these guys that are talking about, we're all thinking it, right? But we're not all
Yeah.
talking about it.
Yep.
So being able to say that to you that day, yeah, you know what? And walking away, I said, the ego in me and the man, what the fuck did you just,
Bro,
like,
I loved
did
every
you just
minute
like
of it.
say this to a guy you don't know? But to me, I did know you guys, and I felt
Yeah.
you guys made me feel comfortable and safe enough to be able to say those
But
things.
that's
that
what I was
day.
gonna say. Like you already had that. You already heard all the conversations. You had that comfortability. Like, yeah, I could easily tell these guys anything,
Yeah.
and they're not gonna judge me.
Oh, little judgment. I've been
Yeah.
there. I've been
Yep.
there. Everybody has had a struggle, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. It happens. So I hope that, and everybody watching or listening to this, take a note from Matt's book. Please feel free to reach out to me or Pete. No one's going to judge you or look at you different. I can't provide you mental health support, but I can provide you support, period. And maybe we have some assets or avenues like a Dave Seidenberg or Danny Regan that could help you get a little further than we can. But we're always here to listen, especially when it gets fucking dark, man. Everybody needs a little bit of light in there.
100%. I just ran over that bridge the other night that I had those terrible thoughts on.
Yeah.
And I ran over that darn thing faster than I was going the whole rest of the time. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
I ramped it up, man. And it's
Made that bridge your
it's the
bitch.
Parkway overpass by in Brick,
Yeah.
and it's elevated. So there's like a hill, and usually on the hills, like I'm kind of fighting a little bit. And like, man, I saw that thing coming and my eyes fucking lit up, and I felt like I conquered something, man. I was like, fuck, dude, how could I be on the same bridge I was on almost 2 years ago, crying, thinking about my family, thinking about this world without me. Now I'm on that same fucking bridge, just owning it, man. And I took a video, I sent it out to the boys group.
Bro,
Yeah.
you're not the same person.
No, but I was super like proud of myself.
Yeah,
dude.
you
And,
should
like,
be.
I keep saying lately, it's only taken me 38 years to see myself in the lens that I'm currently looking at myself in. But like, I'm proud. I'm finally proud of like who I am as a person. And I think it took a lot of soul searching. It took a lot of hard conversations. The podcast has played a factor.
Yeah.
We always talk about similar topics, but all these things have cultivated like basically zero anxiety for me, which I never been like diagnosed by any doctor or anything else like that. But the more I tell my story, the more I think back, like, damn, I was anxious as hell as college.
Yeah.
Like I left, I was away
And
from
you
I
probably
was
thought
away from
those
my
were the best
family.
times.
I wasn't telling my buddies about it. They might have been going through some shit too, but we were
probably
just
all
kind
were.
of, they probably
Yeah.
were. But now they look back on my journey, I'm like, dang, I was kind of like anxious at heart. Like I was describing it as like feeling life in my gut.
Yeah.
And now I just feel way more free. And it's not one thing, it's a lot of different things. But it was so fulfilling, and the reason I only brought this up because you brought up that same topic of suicide.
Yeah.
And Billy does mention that guys are having these thoughts, whether they're frequently or not frequently. Thank God. That I didn't actually act on that. You didn't actually act on that. But the relatability that like, hey, if you're feeling a certain type of way, like it's not the end. This is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and the world is always better with you here than without
is.
you. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're fucked up today in one way, shape, or form, and you're not the best version of yourself, if you do ultimately end your life, you don't have a chance to,
no
to
chance.
change
There
you.
goes that redemption
You don't have a
story's
chance
gone,
to
bro.
positively impact everybody you've hurt.
Right.
But if you take that as a wake-up call and you channel your energy and you listen to what the universe is telling you, you take a little bit from Dave, you take a little bit from Pete, a little bit from Matt, a little bit, whatever, whoever, you can provide practice to yourself on improvement. Your story doesn't have to end on a negative note. You got the rest of the book to write, as Pete would say.
Absolutely.
And I'm happy that you're sitting here able to talk, and I'm happy that you were, forget about what you told me, but you were comfortable enough to just approach us in in that setting. That could be intimidating. You don't know these guys.
100%.
And here you are.
So in this daily gratitude prayer, I was trying to figure out how to turn each month into like part of the book. So if our life book is once a year, then I've been referring to, is today the 11th? Oh, it's the 13th. Okay. So 2 days ago, I'm talking the first chapter, the first paragraph of my 38th
I love when you
chapter.
guys reference it like that on the other podcast.
Yeah. So now, I just moved down the page on that second paragraph, as we move forward.
If you don't look at life like that, this paragraph maybe not great.
Yeah.
Next paragraph, we have an opportunity to expand and change it.
Yeah.
If you don't look at that and you get stuck on that negative shit, and you're sitting there, and whether you're doing drugs and you got a gun to your head, whatever it is, and you choose to end yourself, you're popping pills or whatever it is, and you end your life. Fucking next paragraph don't happen.
100%, man. So you were saying, with Dave, that was what you said you were having those thoughts about 8.5 years ago. Did that kickstart you getting sober?
Yeah. So October 20th, I know the exact day. I can tell you where I was. October 20th, 2015. I'm not homeless at this point. So I want to make sure, because this is the thing, the ego, right? Either I downplay things or I exaggerate them. I had one hell of a mother that let me in that house most of the time when she shouldn't have. So when I say homeless, I had 3 nights at a park, 6 nights at my boy's house, back to my mom's house.
Right. You knew it was always there.
Yeah, because there's people who are, so I want to make sure I get that clear. Exactly.
That's fine.
But October 20th, 2015, it wasn't the work. So I had a part-time job. There was a lot of time where I didn't work. I couldn't work. I just got fired from everywhere.
Damn.
My mom was letting me back in the house. So outwardly, it wasn't the worst. I started using when I was 13, got sober when I was 27. So that's 14 years of this.
Long run.
Yeah. So the last 5 or 6 years was like the real hell. But October 20th, 2015, I'm in my mom's kitchen by myself. 5th of Jameson, enough extracurricular activities like to kill a small family and like a gun. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, I'm going to drink, I'm going to do what I do, and I'm going to end it. And right before, so I'm talking like gun in the mouth, like this, it's time. And I get this voice, and I've been to rehab 3 or 4 times. I've tried AA, but never really tried it. I went because somebody told me to. It was always
you weren't ready.
Exactly. No, it was always for somebody else. But there was this voice in the back of my head, and they're like, just go back to AA. And I was like, what? Like, I've only been there a couple, I know it's God now, and you could choose to believe whatever you want. So the next day, I can't get out of bed. The following day, I go to my first AA meeting. I choose to make October 22nd my sober date, because that was the first time I went to a meeting. It was the first time I felt like I might be okay, so since then, I've had an 8-year self-improvement run, right? And I've had some years where I was on fire, man, because I was filling that void inside things. I filled it with God. I filled it with gratitude. But along the years, I'm man enough to say I started filling it again with money. And then the thing is, whenever I try and fill it with money, I actually make less. So I was pushing and pushing and pushing, and worse things were happening. Now I'm overeating, right? Now I'm 40 pounds up. I own 4 gyms. I'm one of the heaviest guys at the gyms. Imagine that. I got no
You're
self-worth.
supposed to be the billboard for the place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed to go to my own business. That's a shitty feeling to be. But the despair, right? The despair from that day, October 20th, 2015, got me sober. The despair, do you know how embarrassed I was to have to see you guys have my shirt off at Thrive? Like, damn.
I didn't look much better, bro. Don't worry.
Listen, I wasn't judging at all, man. I was listening to you.
That's just real. That was where my self-worth, but who do you bring there?
Sidey, baby. Zach was there that day.
Yeah. I had great talks with everybody about that. Zach, he's a good,
Zach's amazing. Bro, I love Zach.
Yeah.
And Zach's somebody who doesn't give himself enough credit. Sometimes we bump a little bit, but that's just personalities maybe a little bit. But Zach has provided a lot of value to my life as well.
I see that. He's provided value at Certified. I was there yesterday for an oil change.
Just take work out of it.
Yeah.
I'm talking on just such a personal level.
Which is so amazing for me to hear, because I've seen Zach's whole journey.
Yeah, you've been around for everything from the beginning.
And not to cut you off, but I was down at his house about a month ago, and we were having real life talks, and I was just so fortunate. I came in here, and John Reilly, I think, was here around that time, and I was just feeling so grateful and blessed for my friends, and to hear him open up, because he was always he would freaking dominate, dude. Like Sidey, man. Like he freaking dominated people. Like you didn't know he was a real human with real emotions. It's like you forget that.
Well, that's kind of the point of this, right? Is to let everybody know it's okay to have that emotion. Because just like Zach, I've never really been vulnerable or have emotion or show it. You look at my face; it's pretty much the same look. All day, every day.
Nah,
you
your
don't
shit
know
looks
what's going
different.
on.
Your eyes look different
lately.
Your eyes look
I don't
different.
know him for too long.
Nah,
Back
but
up.
think about
It's
it.
only been about 26 weeks or so, or 25 weeks, but you have a different look in your eyes.
Well,
when
I'm
we
okay
first
with getting
started,
vulnerable.
you had a little bit of a look like you were still ready to fuck somebody up.
Yeah,
Where
I don't
now
disagree.
you got more of a loving nature about you, like noticeable looking at you.
A lot of that. Now I'll credit our sessions here and our guests for a lot of it, but it also has to do with a lot of the people that I'm around later in life, and a lot of them are because of you. Zach, I'm around every day, and whether he chooses to realize it or not, forget about work. Work is meaningless. Just being around somebody that has good outlooks on life, like how he handles his kids with wrestling, is really impressive. And he's given me, just like you, has given me a lot of guidance on my son, who is a young athlete. He's 6. He's come up through Petey's wrestling program, which I'm super excited. And actually, Max found out last night that you added another night, and he goes, "We're gonna stop going to Triumph, right?" I said, "Well,
no, that's Monday, so you're good."
no." So I said, it's different nights. I said, "But yeah, Coach Pete is your wrestling coach." Now I've said a million times, in my house, even my 2 little girls that are 4 and 2.5, he's Coach Pete because of the positive role he's had on everybody. So like, he's giving me
Don't
a lot
make
of
me cry
guidance
today, bro.
No,
Don't make
but
me
this
cry
is real. You want to be real? Let's be real. He's had such a positive influence. Take me out of it. On my kids and the perspective that he's given me on dealing with my children, especially my son coming up in a very difficult sport where Pete has held his hand from the time he was, I don't know, like, he really started wrestling around 5, but he was there playing at 4. And even when he was playing, and I'm sitting there like, bro, this kid needs to fucking wake the fuck up. Pete's like, bro, what are you talking about?
Playing a long game, baby.
Yeah, he's like, he's 4.
Yeah.
Let that driver
Let him
down,
play
dog.
Sharks and Minnows. Let's enjoy it.
Grab
And-
that 56 degree, man.
And Zach has a similar outlook. Now, Zach is one of the most accomplished wrestlers in the state. Everybody in the sport knows who he is. And he's always like, bro, don't rush it. And, you know, he cites his kids' record last year as to emphasize their improvement this year, which he's still not over the top hard on him. I watched him at States on Sunday. All he did was hug Lucas when he came off the mat.
That's great to see.
And that's the influence I
my dad
need
did
with
that.
my kid.
I do.
Bro, my
That's
dad
what's
sent me
so
the other fucking
special.
dugout when I struck out.
I wasn't
There was
allowed
no
to drive
hugs.
home with my dad
Yeah,
when
there
I
was
lost.
no
That's
hugs.
what's so special. I mean, obviously, there's many things about being special as a parent. It completely changed our lives forever. But I'm looking forward. I don't want to rush the future, but I'm looking forward to when our kids are about 18, 19 years old and they're trying to find their way. The conversations are going to be a lot different. Everyone that came before us did the best that they could. And we talked to Frankie Yeager about it's our job. You know, my dad did a little bit better than his dad. I'm going to do a little bit better. We hope that by the time our kids are parents, they're going to do a little bit better. But the conversations are going to be a lot different, man. Like, what are you into?
I hope.
You know, what gets you up in the morning? Oh, I absolutely love art.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Go get some supplemental income at the restaurant, but let's focus on this art thing because you're unique. There's something pulling you towards art. It took me 35 years, you know, to really to start the wrestling program. I was probably about 35. It took me 38 years to have this self-confidence. I know I have a gift. I'm unique. I'm not perfect. I'm not a fucking robot, but I can fucking make a kid feel amazing and I can run a practice. I can't run a wrestling business quite yet, but I'm getting there. But between what I'm doing with the kids, I know it's special. I know it's unique to me. It took people like you and all these other people to tell me, because the shit I was telling myself is, oh man, no, you aren't that good at wrestling. You can't do this, you can't do that. Like, don't downplay your gifts, man. So when our kids are like, we can acknowledge these gifts for them and just kind of have an open-ended question. Like, I just use art as an example. Maybe it's photography. Maybe something's pulling you to be a chiropractor. All right, dude, own that. But let's do that.
Real quick, I need to backtrack.
Okay, go. Yeah.
So he gives you a compliment. I watch all these podcasts.
Okay.
You are like when you give me chills when you look at other men in the face and tell you, like, if you don't see that you should be proud of yourself, I'm proud of you. Seidy's gonna help you, man, because I just saw this. So he gives you a compliment. The first thing you do is start giving him a compliment back and deflect to your
So
son.
I'm very uncomfortable with me.
Good
in
call,
that
Maddie.
sense. Like,
And I don't mean to put you
No,
on
no,
the
no,
spot.
no, no.
Seidy's gonna. That's what Seidi does. Man.
I'll be on. I'll explain to you why. So like, I've never wanted to be the person. I was out front, and I'm not comfortable with it. It took a lot to get on here for me. You know, before we did this, Pete was making videos. He was a little comfortable on camera. I don't know. Maybe I think I look funny. Whatever it is. I got the stupid hat on today. Whatever.
You look tough, man.
But,
You're good. You're good.
Well, so that's the other thing. Everybody always tells me I'm not approachable. Whether it's my appearance, now I got these tattoos, I'm bald, you know, I'm fucking old. But anything I've done, whether it's good, I want to do it from behind the scenes. I donate to everything I can. If you need something and it's 2 a.m, call me. I don't need to tell anybody about it. I don't want any recognition. I don't want anything in return. The only thing that we've ever done that we got recognition for that I embraced was we paid for the scoreboard at AYF. And the only reason I embraced it and let them recognize us is because I thought it was an amazing opportunity at the pep rally for them to walk my mother out, who's been through the fucking ringer with my dad's health issues. So I said, you know what? I said, if you're going to present something, I want you to bring my mom out, and I want you to bring my wife out. It can't be, even at that point when I'm accepting it, it's not about me. It's not about my brother Michael, who does just as much, if not more, for the community than me. I'm uncomfortable being the center of attention. Right here, I could bounce it back to Pete. I could bounce it back to my son.
Yeah,
I could
you
say,
are good
Matt,
with the
you
bounce
crush
back.
it because I've had to adapt.
Which is beautiful,
but I've
by
had
the
to
way.
adapt.
It
that.
is.
You know,
It is
like
great.
you are. I'm proud. So you know what? You're proud of all of us. I'm proud of you.
Bro, I appreciate it.
So I'm gonna say. I didn't know if I should talk about
No,
this or not,
I
but
appreciate it.
I'm gonna say it. I come down to you. So 3 weeks ago, I own the gyms and I own a commercial flooring labor shop. Within 24 hours, both of my vans go down. One gets in a car accident, one the tranny goes. So I'm like, all right, I got to get something quick. I have a couple days. Renting a truck is really expensive. I was like, I need something. I need it quick. So I thought of Billy. I'm like, let me hit up. I ask you, what's his number? You hook me up with Zach. So you want to talk about things that might make her like this? Like I don't know why you did it. I still don't understand it. But so I go there and like, I got my chest out, like, oh, my credit's good. Like, I'm ready to go. Like, I need a van. Get me a van. Like, let's get this quick. Zach goes through it. He calls me. He's like, and it's embarrassing to say this. He's like, none of the banks will take your loan.
Hold on. I'm going to stop you because I don't want everybody to think you were like a 400 score. Matt was looking for a commercial loan. The business didn't have a ton of time in business processing.
That's what it
lending
was.
goes.
Underwriting, it was
Listen
difficult.
to this. You know what it was? Remember we talked about that credit line so I could buy one of the other gyms?
Yeah.
I took one out under Trost Flooring. Hope the IRS doesn't listen to this. I took one out and I may have used some of it for something else. So I think I don't have a loan out on that business. I have a huge loan out on that business. So
And just time-wise, it needed to be sustainable. But we got it done.
But here, no, yeah. But
I
see,
just
you're
didn't
trying
want,
to, no.
Well, I didn't want everybody to
wait.
think that you got it like...
No,
like
but
You
Yeah,
ain't
yeah,
worried
yeah,
about
yeah.
what anybody thinks
No,
anymore.
but I don't want you to sound like you walked in, thought you had great credit, and then boom, we're like, bro.
But I could
Yeah.
practice
You barely got a
humility,
heartbeat.
and it was different than
Yeah,
what I
barely
thought.
got a heartbeat.
So I've met Billy 2 times at this point, twice. Talked to him on the phone. Never. Actually, we Instagram messaged.
Yeah.
Zach tells me what my options are. We're trying to buy a 5th gym. April 1st, God willing. So all my money's tied up. And I'm like, Zach, like, I don't have the money. I don't have the money to put down. He goes, no, don't. And I'm not going to say a number. I don't want people to come to Billy looking for a hand. It was more than 5, but it was a substantial amount. He's like, oh no, Billy said he'll just loan it out to you. Just give it back to you when it's good. Dude, I don't even, this makes me want to go into, I don't even know this man. Like, you know, we hit it off. We did. But like, this is the second time I've seen him. And just like that, he didn't even call me to say, like, he just told Zach, like, that easy. Like, yeah, just tell him it's all good. Thankfully, we were able to find a different way to go about it where I didn't have to do that.
But still.
But here's like one of my most embarrassing
Still.
moments, right? I can't get this van and no, don't worry, I got you. Like,
That's-
what kind of got, like, now be
So-
proud of you. Look, come on.
That's an example
But
of
I'll
what
explain
drew
to
me
you
towards
why.
Billy.
And it's a good quality and a bad quality. I assess people, and I don't say I assess people because I'm judging anybody, but I look at them for who they are, and I'm a really good judge of character. So, like, we could have met, and you could have been on the balls of your ass with not a pot to piss in and still doing stupid shit, and I'd still see you for who you are today because I see the good in you. And ultimately, even though I'm analyzing situations because I don't want to get hurt or taken advantage of because I am so good natured.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, but it does happen. But I always anticipate the worst. And there are people that I know shouldn't have reaped benefits of certain things I've done. And I expected that. I looked at you and I knew that we had a great connection. And I didn't know you for an extended period. But in that hour of time and the relatability, the vulnerability, like you get to know somebody. And if you're willing to share with me your story that wasn't amazing, and I can be a part of your success story, which you are a success already, but I could be another step for you, bro, I'm happy to do it. It's not like my kids were eating ramen we were all right. Like it's
seeing this grown man with a beard and muscle who's a dad and he's got businesses and he's doing all these things, to see that emotion, it makes me feel good because I was always an emotional guy. And I always kind of thought it was weird, but like I always say I got it from my grandpa, like my mom's dad, my Pop-Up Campbell. I have mad cousins. Both of my parents are one of 8. So my Pop-Up used to sit, he used to have like one of my cousins, and my sister and I are one of the older ones. So he's no longer with us, but back when we were kids, he would have like a little baby on his lap, one of his grandkids, and he would be crying, at the table. And whether it was a birthday, whatever it may be, happy tears, emotional. I have that same emotional nature. Abby and I are starting to realize Carter's got that emotional nature. We have it in us. You don't have to be a raging meathead to be a freaking man.
Yeah,
and
I
love that
taught
shit.
that though.
Yeah,
this is new for me.
Mm-hmm.
I was always taught weakness. You never come from weakness. Never let anybody know your thoughts. Don't let people see you cry. Whatever it is. Now, my grandmother, my father's mom. Now my father's an only child, so it's a little different. All she had were me and Michael. She was a very stern woman, amazing woman. Don't make a mistake. She was Union County Woman of the Year, and when she retired, she was the superintendent of Hillside School District up north, right next to Irvington and Newark. Her funeral, she died. She was 91 years old. God bless. There was a line down the fucking street. Students that she taught.
Everything you need about
so
that
like
woman,
she was stern. But similar to me, she was there for everybody. And the biggest takeaway I have from my grandmother, and I was blessed with great grandparents on both sides. But my grandma Rose used to tell us, do good, expect nothing in return, just hope that God smiles on you. And it's kind of how I'm living life.
Down.
It's how I always kind of live life. But today, I'm more appreciative for the ability to do that than I am for doing it. Because in the end, what value am I providing to you if I can't answer the call when you need something? I don't mean money. You need to talk. You need a good friend, an ear to listen. I'm here. Something happened. Your debit card got frozen. You need somebody to buy you dinner. I'm here. Whatever it is. And that's how she kind of laid that model. But now you're talking about being emotional. I'm just starting to get emotional. And I got emotional yesterday at lunch with Scott. And I don't mean to hijack this and not let you talk much, but I'll make this quick. We go to
He's
lunch.
a good listener, this guy.
We go to Bubba
I've
Coos.
worked a lot on that, actually.
To me, it's a good quality to have.
It's important. Because if you don't, you're always talking, never listening. You're not making any progress. We're talking about the boys. Scott's son, Rocco, is the same age as Max. They do everything together. They're wrestling together. They're playing football together. Whatever it is, and me and Scott get along. So we're talking, and Max is having some struggles with reading. And I had a conference call, or we had parent-teacher conferences, and I spoke to his first grade teacher, expressed my concerns. I've expressed them for a year, and everybody tells me I'm like expecting too much. Now he's getting a little extra support for reading, but Scott said, you got to hone your expectations a little bit. He's only 6, and Scott's right. My son and his son Rocco are both like the youngest 6-year-olds around. Max's birthday is the end of June. Rocco's is the beginning of July. So like, if I look at another 6-year-old, let's say they're born in January, that's 6 months is a lot of growth.
That's when they're growing from birth. This is a society thing that taught me
Yeah,
too. But from
the
there to
first
7 years old,
yeah.
that's where. So that 1 year, that might as well be 10 or 20.
Big
You know what I mean?
time.
That's where they're
Agreed.
growing.
Big time.
Yep.
But I told Scott, and it was the first time I think I made him uncomfortable, and I didn't mean to, but I got a little emotional, and I almost cried. I said, my biggest fear in life is not being successful or failing. My biggest fear is failing my kids and failing to be failing to be an advocate. Like a year ago, I thought he needed some more support, so I put him in Kumon. For him, Kumon didn't work. It didn't really work for me. I just didn't like how they structured it. But I think that's the first time Scott, and that's why I said this, ever saw me actually like really emotional.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about the most important thing in my fucking life,
Yeah,
my
that
kids.
topic hits you because I remember one time you got like a report card back or some type of assessment, which is freaking BS
Star
for that
report.
matter. And Japan has an amazing structure with their kids, which is a whole nother topic. There's no janitors in Japan. It's like all hands on decks. They all clean each other up. There's no type of testing and assessments until the kids are 9 years old.
Makes more sense.
Yeah, we're gonna get down, go down. But there should why?
I know.
Why?
Trust me, I know.
Competition. Just to make people feel inferior. And that stuff hits hard for me because business-wise or personal life-wise, if it's me, I control my outcome. I write my story, my paragraph, my chapter. My son is 6. My girls are 4 and 2. It's my job to set them up for success. And if they don't, they're not going to realize they can't read. I got to work on that.
But you also, Billy, have to understand that just like we were talking about praying for our friends, sometimes even your kid needs that struggle.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe there's something else on the other side of this having a hard time here that's not for you to say, Kumon this teacher that, you need this, you need that. No, you need to struggle right now. Reading just so happens to be your example.
I'm sure
and dude, easier said than done because I've been in the same shoes.
Yeah.
We have, I've told you some things that's been going on with us, but maybe his life story needs a little bit of struggle in reading.
Well, he doesn't have any struggle, and that's the thing. And I've said this to my wife.
So at least he found it.
Yeah, but
You know,
It's
you want
crazy.
just like
It
the
is.
wrestling mat. You want him to find it, like we
But
talk about.
So he's not. It's not like he can't read. We read books at night. We read 4 days a week. He'll read to me, usually 2 books a night. I keep him on short books just for his attention span. I know my son. But like, I want him to do a little better, and there are some deficiencies. But he's not. I don't want anybody to listen to this and think I'm like.
Again, nobody's fucking
No,
judging us,
but
and we
I
don't
just
care
wanna
if
be
they
as
are.
if they are.
They got their
Exactly.
own problems.
No, but I want to set a realistic standard so you understand the story. When in a month or 3 months, I'm like, yeah, my kid's reading fucking, Goosebumps
buddy,
books.
It's gonna happen too. When it's
cover to
supposed
cover, and we'll get to that point. But
Do they still have those?
I think they do.
They had them at
Those
the
are the
book
shit.
fair
I used
back
to
in the
have
day.
so many.
I used
just
to
worked
buy
the
them and
book
not
fair.
read them.
Yeah.
there must have been 20 that never actually got opened,
Yeah.
but I would show all my friends.
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah,
I got it. I got the new one.
You know what I
for
loved
sure.
when we were kids? I don't know if you guys got into it. It might be stupid. Cam Jansen. It was like a detectives
Okay.
series,
You
and
were
I
into that?
fucking loved it. So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find the one book or one series he really likes, and we'll get it worked out. But the point was, that was the first time Scott ever saw me outside of something happening with my dad get like emotional over like my personal life.
Let it out. That's why I think, honestly, like we'll get back to Matt, but I think that ladies.
We discussed this.
I've said in the past that ladies do what seems to us do a better job in a lot of different things, but like navigating life overall. But we don't see the crying in the shower.
Yeah.
Like they got it out. You know
think
what I
that
mean?
they're
They talk to their
stress-free.
girls.
That's how they become stress free because they let it out instead of holding it all in.
I told you I wish I could work on
Probably
just
why
like
your back hurts, bro.
crying
You're holding all that
literally.
fucking emotion
Yeah.
in. You know,
you
absolutely.
seem like you've gotten really in touch. Like I don't know you prior, but it seems like you're pretty good with your emotions, and you're all right with being vulnerable.
Yeah, listen, you hit it on the head. Like, I used alcohol and drugs to stop having to feel anything.
Yeah.
And when I got sober, it was like, wait a minute, like, I need a new solution. So, like, people always say, like, oh, my problem was alcohol and drugs. Like, no. That was my problem was me.
Yeah.
My fear, my worry, my anxiety, my selfishness, my self-pity, my jealousy, my envy. I can name them. I say them every single morning. I know what my defects are.
Damn.
But I had to see, like, so alcohol and drugs were the solution. When I had a fear, I drank a drug. And I'm not going to lie, it worked. So it's funny. It's like there was this imaginary line. drinking and drugging was fun. I was able to talk to the girl who I couldn't talk to when I was nervous. That was the liquid elixir, right?
Yeah.
But there was this imaginary line. I can't tell you exactly when, but when I stepped over it, and when it became a demand, like I couldn't get out of bed without it. I couldn't live a normal functioning life without it. That's when it became hell. So I get sober, right? And now I don't have, so like I got fear, I got worry, I got all those defects.
Now you
but
gotta
what do I
stare
do
at
with
it?
it?
Yeah.
Exactly. So it turns out I'm one of the most, I'm man enough to say I'm one of the most sensitive, ask my girl, I'm one of the most sensitive people out there. I just didn't know it because there was a mask there. Or maybe I did know, like you said, I didn't even know. Before we hopped on, you were talking about anxiety. I don't even know if I knew I was anxious.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think I had anxiety. Well, when you're always drunk or high, it's kind of hard to ever see that, right? Yep. All of a sudden, you start peeling back the layers without that, and you're like, wow, like, what is this I'm feeling? It's anxiety, it's fear, it's worry. So I had to, I don't think the AA book and the 12 steps, like, that shit would be good for anybody. I'm telling you. The only difference between you and I, though, is it might help you, but you don't need it. Without it, I'm going back. And I know what happens when I go back. I'm going to die. That's just my fate.
That's just a tool. Whether or not somebody needs that tool, like you need it, you say you're going to go back. Maybe somebody doesn't need it, but they could use it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, maybe that's something somebody takes away from this episode right now is tapping into that. Whether they have a substance abuse problem or not, there's a process that people find value in. Maybe it applies to practical life or practical use for somebody else. It's just that little recipe. Sprinkle a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You know, I took from Dave Seidenberg. I took from this one. I took from that one. Maybe I take that. Maybe I sprinkle it on.
There's some different like feelings with people who don't know about AA and like what it is, if it's culty, if it's this, if it's that. All it is a bunch of different self-improvement methods that they combined into one. So there's religious aspects, there's spiritual aspects. But if you actually read the book, it like specifically tells you like, it's not one religion. Go do you. Find what religion.
So it's
Maybe it's not
like
religion.
the Modern Man's podcast.
Yeah. You want to pray to the lamp right here? Pray to it, man. If that's what you got to do it.
I almost ended up at an AA meeting on Friday night. Now, when I first stopped drinking, my thing was if one person brings up Miller Lite, I'm going Stone Cold Steve Austin on these things, and I'm putting down 15. So I personally didn't like fit the realm, you know, in my mind, right? So we had Strangio on. He tells his story.
Great
my
story,
sister
by the
passed
way.
away.
Yeah,
He was incredible.
awesome.
He was incredible.
I think it's our most viewed episode, too.
So my sister hits me up. She watches the episode. My sister got herself sober pretty much on her own. I'm not sure how long ago now, maybe 2-3 years or so.
Yeah, Case has a pretty good story.
She's got an amazing story. So Casey hits me up, kind of like asking me to get her connected with Strangio. She wanted to go. Something was pulling her to go. I think she's been there in the past. She kind of has like a NA job where she kind of helps people out and everything. But for herself, she kind of needed it, right? Well, Ronnie, I started group text. Ronnie starts popping. Ronnie needed to go, right? Something was pulling Ronnie on Friday, this past weekend. So I get Ronnie and Casey connected. He's like, dude, you have to go. I'm like, dude, wrestling season just ended. Like, I need to be home with the kids. Go with my sister. But I almost said to Abby, like, hey, I'm going to be out. Like, I got somewhere to go at 8 o'clock. I almost met them there. And I started getting really joyful because I'm like, shit, man. Just like Ronnie was saying, like, there's one guy day one, like, I can come in as like the OG where I could really relate to everybody. Maybe it's a first day. So like we have this like helping nature about us. And the other thing that you said was similar to Thrive, like we said with Edgar, Thrive, going to the gym, jujitsu, whatever it may be. Anywhere that you can meet people on this self-improvement journey, I was saying to my sister, go there. There's amazing people that are there that have come to terms with the fact that like they want to help, but like they've also been through it and they're not afraid to talk about it. That's why they went in the door. Like that in my mind, I created something different than what it actually is. But now that I hear about it and talk about it, I'm going. Like, I'm going, whether it's this Friday night, like, I'm going soon. And I can't wait to be around all these people who, in my mind, are the realest fucking people out there. They ain't putting up their vacations like we talked about. They ain't, living this filter life and, like, they never had a fucking pimple on their face. No, those people been through it. They're here to help. They're here to share their stories. And, I just had to bring that up because that like just happened.
They're proud of it. They're not trying to hide it. I mean, Matt's talking freely about his journey. Danny's fucking story a couple weeks ago was Danny Longo was wild. Then you got a guy like Danny Regan. Yep. You know, I mean, if nothing else, if you are struggling with substance abuse or just mental health issues, whatever, take away from some of these guests where they've been and where they're at now. I mean, we're sitting with a guy that he just told you he was sitting in the kitchen ready to go. How many gyms? 5?
God willing, April 1st, it'll be 5. Yeah.
Owns 5 gyms today. 8 years sober?
Yeah, yep.
8 years sober. Still struggles daily, figuring it out. 5 gyms, a flooring company, and from the outside looking in, he's kicking life's fucking ass. So tough times don't last. Tough people do. Let's fucking go.
See, you know what's so funny? I'm giving him a hard time. Like, don't you see it? And he's saying this, and I'm like, no, that's not me. See, like the way the world views me is not the way inside. He's helping me with that. I know I'm gonna get there, but so I'm telling you to see it in you. But I can't see it in my
say it to yourself.
Exactly. I got to see it in myself.
Because I mean, Matt, all in all, you could have crumbled at some point, but ultimately. AA could have helped, a therapist could help, whatever it is. But no matter what, no matter who gives you the tools or what they are, you have to use them. There's nobody that waved a magic wand to make you who you are today. You put in that fucking work, you put in that time, and you deserve that fucking recognition, bro. So good fucking job.
Hell yeah. That gave me chill. Thank you. I appreciate it. But it takes a lot, and that's the thing. You were talking about it with wrestling. Like, everybody wants to be the best, but they don't see what goes into being the best. I, by far, was not the best wrestler. But, like, what I had to do to get to where I was now, like, it takes, like... So, I get sober... 2015, I'm sober 3 years. So like the self-help is what I love. So like I love AA. I no longer go to AA. I've taken like 20 or 30 guys through the big book. I still talk to them daily. Cool. Love them. So I get sober. When I get sober, I have no girl. I have no job. I have nothing. So like it was very easy, and it saved my life, by the way, I was going to 3 meetings a day, right? I go through the meetings, I go through the 12 steps, I start helping people. But all the promises start coming true. All the stuff I wanted, I meet a girl. It's now my wife, right? Which people told me, oh, you're moving too fast. You just got sober. Well, guess what? We've been married for 7 years now, right? Because I listened to God. So I get a wife. I get a business. I get 2 businesses. I get 3 businesses. Now COVID hits. So I have all these tools already, right? And I love AA and I love the meetings, but you got to sometimes, you just said something really important. You got to check sometimes, like, what are my motives, right? So the meetings are great, right? If you need a meeting, you should go to a meeting. But sometimes you could hide in those things too. So I get into a fight with my girl, right? She's pregnant now. We're during COVID. I haven't been to a meeting in months. We get into a fight. I don't want to deal with it. I'm going to a meeting. I need a meeting. Again, that voice in my head, no, motherfucker, you don't need a meeting. You need to sit here with your wife. You need to support her, get through this fight. Here's a first time being pregnant. It's COVID. She's scared as hell. You're going to walk out on her to go to a meeting. Meetings are great.
I just got the chills.
They're
for
great,
like the
but maybe
time.
that Friday night, you just had wrestling season, right? Maybe the girl's feeling a little neglect, whether or not she was or not. But, you know, she's got that feeling. The kids really are excited. First weekend with dad. Like, you were where you were supposed to be. Next Friday.
And I told Strangio, I need to be home.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's such a great point.
But you were aware enough to realize that, too.
Yeah.
You picked up on what your wife and kids needed. And in the moment, whether you had to have a voice, give you a little inkling, you knew you needed to be home.
The season just ended. Lex texted us to meet up.
Yeah.
What was that? This upcoming
morning
Thursday.
He texted us,
I said, you know, I used to have a very, very hard time saying no. I don't know about you guys, but
I can't say no.
I still do.
I still need to get way better. I was proud. I would love to go hang out with Lex. Lex is the man.
I still owe him another golf outing. He took me. I got to take him.
But oh yeah, we still have tickets somewhere too.
Yeah.
I have like a folder, a jumping
It probably
book or something.
expired.
Yeah, it probably did.
Colts Neck,
I don't think they do expire.
Oh,
we have to go in with some freebies.
Force them.
I was just going to
So anyway,
you better use those things.
You golf?
So
Well, I try to go.
tries to. Hey, you're right in the right spot.
Yeah, I go.
So as of late, now wrestling season just ended. The time of the youth practices is craziness for young kids.
Yeah.
My own personal young kids. So I would like literally get home from practice with Mason. You know, we'd have some dinner. Every now and again, the kids would be up. They come down for a little bit, but then they just kind of like crash. But now I'm home every night. Yep. Now, I said no last Friday. The season just ended, dude. That was like my first week. Yep. Now Lex asked me to do something. That's my second week.
You're making that a habit, though. That's a good thing.
I've been getting so overwhelmed, dude. Last night, Abby asked me if I'm all right. I can't hide my emotions well. Now, I'm not screaming at my kids losing it, but the knots in my stomach. Yep. Mason's not listening to Abby. Carter's jumping up and down like crazy. Rowan's being mean to Abby because she's super cool with Abby when I'm not there. Once Dad gets home, she starts hitting her with that backsided, no, daddy, daddy, daddy. And I want to be like, bitch, she gave birth to you. Yeah. You know, granted, she's 2.5. I didn't say that. But it festers, it festers, it festers, it festers. It builds, it builds, it builds. To the point that Abby was like, are you all right? I'm like, I'm going to go get milk and I'm going to go get the cold plunge. All right, I'm going to go get my second one of the day. I kept waiting for everybody to get to sleep.
Love the cold plunge.
So,
love it.
But I said to Abby today, I said, damn, I know why I'm losing my cool. I haven't been around since November. Yep. So this is almost new to me again. I'm only 2 weeks into the nighttime craziness. She's a lady. She weathers the storm better. She's a mom by nature. She's better at it. I haven't been handling it well, but I'm a newbie now. I got to get back. I got to get back in the groove.
That's
so
stressful.
now I know that I got to get back in the groove. If I said yes to Ronnie, now I'm out of the groove. Now I'm maybe if I wasn't there Friday night, I would have let loose. Now if I say yes to Lex Thursday night, now I'm not in the groove. Okay, now next Monday comes around, and now I'm feeling it festering again.
You could have said yes to all of this, but you'd just be avoiding.
You say no to them.
In all actuality, you'd be saying yes to that to avoid the stress at your house and not managing, not dealing with it. That's one thing I have to work on, right? So you say Abby could read you pretty well, and she knows. For the most part, until I'm really expressing it, no one can read me and get a read on me.
Well, even when I was saying that your eyes look more compassionate, you are still different than me at nature, which is totally fine. And that's what I've come to terms with. I am who I am. You are who you are.
But I have to get better with that.
We could adjust along the way and improve along the way. Who I am at the core. If I'm always smiling and lifting everybody up and now I got a sour puss on, it's obvious. Yep. Yeah. But it's not obvious for everybody.
But that goes back to anxiety. That's another thing. It's the yes to I want to make everybody so happy that I let myself so the one thing we do, I try not that. I own, it all sounds good, right? We own businesses and everything. I'm just getting by too. I'm learning, right? I had to make a lot of different agreements to have the businesses I have. Yeah. But the one thing I really do value are vacations. And the reason why I do is because every 3 to 4 months, I burn myself out so badly that my wife finds me on the bathroom floor in a ball. Yeah. Just done. And she's like, you did it again. You burn yourself. It's yes to this guy. And she's like, and you're great to us too. But it's just
yes to us in the podcast. Now I feel bad. Dude, we could have sent you a Zoom link.
No, look. Now, because of society, I've been working on self-care. Yeah. I've been working more efficiently. So I have my stuff done. I haven't turned my phone over once because anything that happens is out of my control. Okay. Usually everything is in my control, or so I think, right? 3 a.m. I'm pacing in my den because I'm going to figure something out. But
you know you're what? Right. I can't. I've gotten much better with the letting shit keep me or stress me out all night. One thing that I've really consciously worked on was improving my sleep. And it's slowly getting better, but part of why it's getting better is because what the fuck am I going to do at 10 o'clock at night when everything's closed? Yep. The banks aren't open for me to make a deposit. Right. My customers aren't coming in to do business. Yep. What am I doing at 10 o'clock at night to fix whatever problem I'm anticipating?
I'm glad you brought that up because I think a lot of guys are there. I think that nighttime window that everyone else is asleep and it's just you in your own mind or the phone. It can get a little bit dark and brutal. That might be the moment of the day, the one moment of the day that you don't have shit to do. No. You don't have anyone to respond to. And that's where the real shit starts creeping in, dude, but right before bed.
I'll give you a perspective on that. For me, that moment, alone with my thoughts, my obstacles that I have to face, whatever it is, we'll call it fears, is the scariest time for me. Because there's nothing to distract me.
Yep. Right. And you can't say, I'm working.
But
I'm doing emails.
But that's also, I've said, you give me life on easy street, I'll fuck it up. You put my back against the wall and I got to figure it out, I'll figure it out. What's no good for me is when I'm up and I can't fall asleep because I'm stressed, which doesn't happen often, but I always go to bed planning how I'm starting my next day. Yep. I used to be at work at 6 a.m. to start my banking, whatever it was. I like to be 3 days ahead of everything. And it was no good because I was waking up at 4 o'clock, but I was waking up at 4 o'clock waiting to go to work at 6 because I knew I'd look like a psycho if I went there at 4:30. Like,
You wanted to.
but I'm waking up on edge instantly.
Yeah.
And some stuff Dave said provided me like a little bit different clarity. But
those before bed thoughts or whatever you're doing.
It's also part of the reason why I say yes to so much shit. Because if I say yes to everything, I know that ultimately I'm going to wake up, I'm going to work, and I'm going to figure out what I have to during business hours. But if I say yes to you at 7, or I'm coaching football at 5, then I'm going to you, and then I'm on the phone helping this one, or so-and-so, whatever it is, all my free time's preoccupied.
See,
it's tough.
As men, and this is what we do, and I'm not saying, so I'm just learning this. Like, this is what Dave, like, this is what we go through. So, like, we're delaying, like, the fears don't go away. What I try and do is I try and plug if I just plug every second of every day and I'm doing something. So I met with Lex and Mark. I own 4 businesses. Now it's going to be, I own 5 businesses, going to be 6. I meet Lex last year. I'm like, you know what? You guys don't have, they didn't have a takedown club for Donovan. I'm like, I could do that. I was like, I'll do that, and I'll do their Instagram too. I'm a 30-year-old. I'm taking like videos of the kids wrestling. My wife is like, you've been up
what are you doing?
You've been up since 4 a.m.
Right.
You don't have a kid, like you've been up since 4 a.m. You did all this. Now you're doing a booster club. Like, you don't even know what you're doing. Like, I'm learning. I'm like online. Like, it's like 1 a.m. I'm looking how to start a nonprofit. Okay. She's like, why are you doing this? And like, I lied. In my head it was, so I don't have to deal with the things in my head.
Yeah,
I said, what I said was, I like to help. I want to give, which is good. But if I'm giving to everybody else,
you're taking from them.
And when am I ever giving myself I'm only as good as what I could, so I can only give what 100%. I have. But when I don't have shit, what am I doing? I'm just half-assing a bunch of different things.
I was giving with an empty cup, man, giving everybody else the last drop, and my shit was empty,
that
bro.
That leads me to the bathroom full. So like outwardly, you tell me how good, the business is. I got a beautiful wife and daughter at home, a beautiful 2-year-old. Love them so much. That, if I'm not making me happy, if I'm not figuring out, I don't mean selfishly, right? We're there for our family. But if I don't carve out 2 hours to talk to you guys. I went to the cold plunge. Like, if I can't do that stuff for myself, I must not value myself very much.
Your bathroom floor is my tile floor for a seizure. Yeah. So my body responds in that manner. Yep. Your body responds to that completely burnout. The vacations are still going to be beautiful. Yep. You just don't need them nearly as much as you thought. You might need them for the memories, for your kid. That's one thing to justify. You know,
my burnouts go to the point where, like, it's my wife kind of dragging me onto a plane because she doesn't think I'm going to, like, make it. She doesn't know what else to do, and she's scared.
You're
like, that's shitty, man.
If you had a phone battery, your shit's fucking 1%.
1% is
she's got to fucking drag you on the plane.
Scramble. We got to go do something because, like.
And then do you get rejuvenated on the trip? Like,
now it depends.
Well, you working on the
trip, or did you?
So what I used to do was, because I was accessible to everybody. So we own the 4 gyms, so you got to think maybe 50 or 60 employees there. Then I got 8 employees for the carpet company. My partner and I with the gyms, we used to be accessible to every single employee. We would let any of them. Yeah. Now the gyms are open 4 a.m. to midnight. So we let anybody hit us up at any time. We quickly saw, like, that was not sustainable.
Not sustainable.
Then we got managers. But what do I do? I'm micromanaging, right? So the last few vacations, like, my wife was visibly upset. And what do I do as a man? I took you on this trip. Like, I could do what I want. Like, she looked at me finally.
How do you think we
I've been on that bullshit.
Yeah. I've had those.
I've been those conversations. I said that dumb shit.
Yep. And you know what it took? It took her saying, you know what? Then I don't want him.
Yeah.
Because this isn't what is fun about. Exactly.
Yeah, I want you.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. So this last one, I just went last week, and it wasn't because of a burnout. It was because, as Dave tells me, I deserve it, and we're working on positive affirmations, right? I deserve to be happy, so I'm going to go on this trip. I told my employee, and like my carpet guys, they're the best, man. They're great, but I've micromanaged so much to where they don't think that they could swim on their own. So what I've been doing, me and Dave, is like giving them positive, no, you're going to be great while I'm gone because you deserve, right? And that's weird saying to another guy at first. But we went on this vacation, and 4 out of 5 days, I was good. The 5th day, there was some stuff that happened, but because I was good for those days, my wife was like, honey, like, take the calls. We're going home tomorrow. She was proud.
If you took the calls every single day, that 5th day, she's like, let's get the fuck out of here, dude. Why do we even come here?
Yep. Not even fun at that.
It's funny we brought that up, though, because
amazing.
I think Dave shared a reel the other day about how you have to put yourself in front of your spouse and children, but you got to focus on your mental health and your space before them, because if you're no good, what value you're providing them? And that's true. So I need this time here, and I've said this is my therapy. And it's true, because without this, I'm not talking to you. You wouldn't have spoke to me at Thrive. Me and Petey had a great relationship, but we wouldn't talk like we talk now. Like, I feel like every week Pete's giving me something to expand my life on. I'm working towards the cold plunge still, getting better at it. Which you said, you got the milk and did a cold plunge. I should have done it the other night. Josephine throws her jacket on the floor. The puppy's trying to eat it. Mary asked her 3 times to pick it up. Josephine can be a bitch. She yells at Mary. She's stomping her
these
feet.
little girls are no joke. How old's your daughter?
2. She's
Bro, it's
2 and
rough.
almost 2.5, and I got another girl on the way.
Oh, God bless.
Yeah, girl dad.
God bless.
Man.
Yeah.
When's your daughter's birthday?
November 2nd.
November. Okay, my daughter's birthday is August, so she'll be 3 in August. They're about 2 months apart.
Yeah, Josephine.
Yeah,
They're
get
close,
those 2
dude.
together.
I
Let
guess
them-
they'll
let
be
them
like
expend
3
some-
months
Let
apart.
them expend some
Joey
energy.
will be
Run around.
3 June 6th.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful.
But it's
Yeah,
like
my birthday's
right around
June
the
5th.
same.
all in that age, that age group. I'm noticing for me, and you're saying, well, Rowan,
Bro.
Joey is just ruthless, and Rosalie wasn't like that. Rosalie is such a sweetheart.
Yeah.
But Josephine is like Chucky, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's
There's
bad.
a word that my mother-in-law says in Italian, "fate mazorda."
Yeah.
And it's basically saying, like, you're a bitch.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, me and Abby, like, we want to get to that point. I love her so much, and I don't want to talk bad at all.
No, I'll
but
say it, my daughter's a
it gets
bitch.
to this point where, like, I said to Abby last night, I'm like, she's being a little fate mazorda.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
Bro, I've said it. Josephine,
They are
push your
spark
buttons.
plugs, dude. Hey, but listen, Marlena Hodgins told me a while back when I was telling her about Rowan. She said, "Don't put out that fire. She's gonna need it one day."
Yeah.
So hey, if they're feisty, let it happen, baby, because there's gonna be a point in time where they're gonna need that fucking fire.
Joey's
We're not gonna want no
feisty.
pushover. What do we want them to do? Sit down in the corner and not say
Yeah.
shit and just listen to
Well,
everything?
and-
I'm glad she's got fire in her
Yeah,
spirit.
and Josephine's got no fear. Like the other morning, I wake up, I come downstairs at 5:30 to let the dog out. I take the dog out. I come out of the kitchen. The lights are off, except for the light in the kitchen that I turned on. I hear, "Hi, Daddy." I turn the light on. She's just sitting in the family room with her toys by herself. She left her bedroom, went downstairs. She's got a little like fake plastic purse that she put her toys in, and she's just sitting there.
And what time was that?
5:30 in the fucking morning.
She was ready to go, too.
Independent, girl.
I'm like, baby
Yep.
girl, what are you doing?
Doing her thing.
And it was really cute. And then we went upstairs and cuddled, and I stayed in bed until like 7:15 with her. But
Nice.
she's sitting there, and it was like a scene out of the movie Chucky. She's got red hair. I call her Chucky all the time, like jokingly to my wife.
She got those Billy eyes at that
Yeah,
time.
bro, she's intense. She's scary. But-
When's your wife due?
August 1st.
Oh, God
August
bless
1st, number 2 coming. Yep. So
How's Mama feeling right now?
this one was hard, man. This
Yeah,
one was a
sure.
lot harder than the first one.
Our
And-
first pregnancy was super easy.
Yeah.
The last Rosie was terrible. Josephine wasn't bad, but the first one they set my wife up. She thought it was like on easy street. The next 2, not so great.
See, that's what she's so the first one, and all of our wives, I'm sure, but my wife's a fucking warrior, man. Like the stuff she
She has
does,
to be
like
to be married to.
yeah, I think I think she does because
Takes a special woman
See,
to
I
marry a
obviously
guy
saw
like me
something
or
really
you or
good
Pete.
within you that you didn't see in yourself
Yeah.
too, which we talk about with the ladies a lot. But they are fierce,
well, again,
man.
So like just to jump back, like so when I first got sober, I met her. I was 3 months sober. I was living in my mom's basement. So this isn't a woman who like, oh, this guy's a business
Yeah.
owner. Like
Wasn't no gold digger.
No. She was the one buying dinners.
She was,
I think.
but
I
she
was
was
trying to get
says
on
a
my
lot
feet.
about her,
You
bro.
ever see that meme
Yep.
of the guy like standing behind the woman that's paying?
Yeah.
And he's like holding her hands from behind. That was you, dude.
Yeah.
It's
You
like,
ever
yeah.
see-
You want to go to a restaurant? Yeah, Chick-fil-A's open, I think. You got that?
Or the meme where you ask the girl for her card first so he could pay for it. Like, give me that real
Yeah,
quick.
low
I
key,
got
give it back to her so
You
the
know what's-
server don't
you
see
know
it.
what's funny? I do that now because I don't have a debit card. So
She has the card.
yeah, I don't use one. I never use a debit
Yeah,
card.
but you're doing it with confidence, bro. You ain't doing it
I'm
with
like,
that
"Here, give me-
nature
give me
like
your
it's
debit
hers.
card."
You
Yeah.
know that you worked hard for
Yeah.
that money.
But
It ain't
it's
the opposite
funny,
way.
like, you know, listen, my wife had a great job before she became a stay-at-home mom, and she wound up staying at home because she was pregnant with my son, Max, who we were told we couldn't have kids. She got pregnant. I thought it was a miracle. Somebody threw a chair through a window in an office she was in, and she was seeing somebody in her building, and she got covered in glass. She got hit by the chair. She was 6 months pregnant. I said, "You're done?
Yep.
That's my kid." I said, "I don't care if I have to rob, cheat, and steal." Today, OnlyFans is a thing, so I would say I'd start an OnlyFans, but you don't have to work. And that's on me, but she had a
Wait,
big
you
job.
said you would start one?
If it was today, I would
What
say
you
that.
gonna be taking pictures of, dog?
I don't know, bro. I don't know. But I'm saying
There's
then,
people in the market for bald heads,
Dude,
man. I'm telling
you
taking
never
some
know
weird
out
hair.
here these days,
then
bro.
I had to say
You're looking
Rob
for
Cheat
foot
and
pics?
Steal. There was no fast way on the internet to make it work. Like
Right,
there was
right.
no content creators then.
The first thing I thought of,
Yeah.
though, literally, Billy, not to cut you off, was like what we were talking about before, where it's like these down moments or these crazy things in life that happen. Like if that chair didn't come through the window, she might still be working there.
100%. I might
You
not have
never
two
know.
beautiful girls.
Yep. Yeah.
With Max, it might just be just Max,
Yep.
which was our initial plan. But she made six figures when I didn't. So now when I'm asking, like I used to joke that I had a sugar mama. But now I'll ask, and like I don't care. Like she bought me tons of shit when I was younger. She was always there for me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've always had a job and I've always done all right, but she was with me before I had the success I have
Yep.
now, if I even have any
The
success.
ladies always see something more in us than we see in
But
ourselves.
I love asking, like when we go up and we gotta buy stuff. Come here, can I have your debit card?
That's great.
It's like people look at me like,
That's
oh my
great.
God.
Look at this broke
Yeah.
ass Billy
Yeah,
out
I'm
here.
good with it. I'm good with
So
it.
I got a question. So I know I'm supposed to be telling about my story, but I think this is like I just like the way
Nah,
that
this
this
is a good
dynamic is
banter,
going. I
bro.
hope
I
this is good.
actually
Yeah.
love this.
It's been amazing.
So I got a
don't know
fear.
if
This is something I've been real fearful about. Baby number 2 is coming. My wife she always was a really hard worker, had a good job. We moved down here. She left that job. So she got a little bit of a less, took a little pay cut, started working at another job. She hated it, was miserable. First time in my life I have enough money to say, listen, like, do you want to just quit? You could stay home. She's like, I'm not ready to do that yet. Let me come work at one of the gyms part-time.
Okay.
So I said, okay, no problem. So now it's another pay cut, right? So now we're getting to the point where when baby number 2 comes, there's absolutely no reason. We would be losing money for her to go back to work.
Yeah. Well,
But
daycare costs so
it's so expensive.
much,
We got
bro.
one already in there,
Yeah.
and she doesn't make the cutoff to get to go to the pre-K in Manahawk, and so she's got to do it in a whole nother year at the daycare that costs money.
Yeah.
So my fear, like, I got to be honest, I'm like, I'm a doer, and probably too much of a doer. We really complement each other because she's more of a relaxed, chill, like, but I'm afraid when she stops working, it's like there's going to be certain things that I want done.
So I'll tell you, my perspective is probably not the best on this though, because I'm very impulsive. So like for me, boom, the chair comes through the window. We're done.
Yep.
I'll figure it out. You
Yep.
know, I was joking that if it happened today, it'd start an OnlyFans. No one wants to see that, but whatever
No one
I
wants
have to
see
do.
that. Yo, there's demand, dog.
Yeah, maybe.
Bearded bald cats with tats
Tom's
and
gonna
muscles.
subscribe to me and my dogs walking.
Tom ain't subscribing to nothing, bro.
He wants to see me lifting kettlebells and stuff. He's in. But
Tom ain't in.
I'm impulsive. So I act on emotion, and it probably wasn't the best decision rationally at the time, but ultimately it lit a bigger fire under me.
Right.
But what did suffer was her quality of life, and I was always there for my kid, but when she stopped working, now it's all on me. Now she would come to work, especially after my dad got sick, and she helped reconcile bills. Like when it was just Max would go to daycare. She would come to work. She would run all my service stuff with my sister-in-law Melanie at the time, and they helped significantly. But now she's like, I think she's getting her nails done. She was at the gym
I'm
today.
so glad though that she's been going to
She's
to
at
leaks
least,
and
yeah.
everything else, because it sounds real great, to be a stay-at-home
No,
mom.
she's gotta
But
stay
I
occupied.
actually feel for a lot of those situations, because we were talking about like this half-hour window before bed. When your whole window, you might
Imagine
have
if
some
it's nothing but
postpartum
time.
depression
Yeah.
involved.
Yep.
You're home alone. Your number one focus and concern is that little baby. You kind of lose sight of your friends. You're not going out to dinner. You're not going on dates with your husband. It's just you and the baby, which is an amazing blessing.
Yeah.
But you still have to be able to find ways to fill your own tank.
Well,
like
put it back
go to the
to-
gym, go to church, go anywhere.
You have to fill
be
your schedule.
around places that then you could step up there. Like, listen, babe, you haven't left the house in a week with this
Yeah.
newborn. Like, I'm gonna stay there. You go get your nails done.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
go
and
do
that's,
this.
That's
You know.
the shit that's important.
Yeah.
Because, like he's saying, remember before I said the most fearful time for me is when I'm alone with those thoughts. So if she's home all day and she's got no outlet or avenue, like
Yeah.
you said,
That's a lonely
now
place to
she's
be,
alone
bro.
just in her head.
Yeah.
So like now Mare's at the gym today. I know she
Yeah.
went to the gym, then she went to get her nails done,
Doing
and
her
I'm
thing.
happy with
Living
that.
life.
Like she goes to see my homegirl Lena, does her hair, and I used to have to. I would call Lena, I would just pay for it before she got there, just make sure she didn't have to worry, whatever. And it was like a surprise. But I took that leap. And it made me work harder because I was so scared because she had such a big income at the time.
And that's what I think, like my real fear is, like, I do the bills in my head over and over, and yes, we could do this, but there's a part of me like these two girls, like going to be 3 girls that I love so much, bro. Like
I'll tell you now, kids
it's going to
aren't
be on
cheap
me,
either.
and like it's scary, man. That's another thing that like us guys don't talk about. We like to talk and like puff our chests out, but like I'm scared, bro. A couple businesses just have to go a certain way, and it's like, can I take care of them the way that I'm telling them I could take care of them?
I was literally in that same exact position when my wife was pregnant with Carter. And I was like, how are we going to do this?
It's scary.
We barely have enough to pay for days with one kid. Now we got another kid in the mix. And I was there, and then I went right back there with Rowan too, man. And then we always find a way.
You're not getting a guaranteed paycheck. You're not getting a guaranteed. I'm not getting a guaranteed paycheck. I had this conversation with my Snap-on guy, Tyler Bellistock. Now, Tyler has no kids, but he's very worldly, and he listens and he assesses a lot of people around him. So we have a conversation. He's got big money in inventory. He's got a decent amount of bills, and we're just talking like we're talking. And he goes, everybody sees the good part and sees, oh, you gross this. Yeah, but I got to pay for that. So you hit a run like 2 months could wipe you the fuck out if it's
about
bad.
That on one of the with the Sneaker
Forgot who
King.
it
That
was.
was another great guy.
It was awesome.
That's the thing people don't see. Gross means nothing.
Yeah,
what am I
it's
netting?
meaningless.
What am I bringing home to my family afterwards?
And more important, what are you keeping?
Yep.
Because
Uncle Sam's in the mix.
Yep.
Yeah, well, and I'm trying to leave something at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Well, that's where
what you were
Lex.
saying.
That's where my man Lex Knapp came.
Good.
Like, so it's Sidey, right, helping me with the mental stuff. Lex has got my kids, my daughter's taking care of. And that's such a good feeling, but it is
that's
still
amazing.
scary, man.
Yeah, it is still scary.
When that payment comes out I got a couple things for one's monthly, one's yearly. When that stuff comes out, like, and I don't want to be selfish, I'm like, damn, I could use that in my pocket right now. But
So I
want
put
at
off,
least,
like the stuff for my kids. And me and Lex talked a couple weeks ago. I had to give him some blood work and stuff that we got to catch up on. But I haven't qualified for a life insurance policy personally for 2 years. My blood chemistry was that bad. My triglycerides were so bad that the cutoff for like life insurance, they consider you dead at 2,000. Mine, and I'll provide paperwork because everybody tells me that it's bullshit. Mine were sustained over 3,000 for 4 sets of blood work over 2 years.
Did the triglycerides play into
It's
the
genetic.
ghost of Billy?
A lot played into that. Ultimately, I wound up with pneumonia, but there was
the pneumonia, but was it a correlation there?
I'll tell you how, no, but yes.
Okay.
My body, genetically, I have every risk factor my father has. High triglycerides, he had them. High cholesterol, all of it. I've been through every heart workup you can, but my body always feels like shit. So, like, I chalk everything up. Like, when my triglycerides, when we really started dialing it in, my knees, my whole body hurt. If I tapped my knee against the table as light as possible, I would writhe in pain for 15 seconds. I wound up with these bumps. Actually, I have a biopsy in this tattoo here that's scarred up. But I wound up with these bumps called xylomas. It was actually the level of lipids in my body they were trying to push through. I had lumps all over my arms and my butt cheeks. And that's when I really started getting cognizant of it. But my triglycerides were over 3,000. My bad cholesterol was over 600. My good cholesterol was basically non-existent. But I ignored.
I'm such a child. I'm sorry. You said butt cheeks, and I can't stop smiling, dude. I'm
God.
sorry.
I at least didn't smile. I was listening.
You're good.
I heard butt cheeks. I wanted to smile. I was like, I'm going to bear through it.
But because of all of it, I didn't listen to my body.
Right.
So I'm golfing with Kevin and Scott. That's the Saturday before my wife found me. And by the 14th hole, now I'm far from a good golfer. I lose interest.
He's a good coach, though. He's a good golf coach.
I can tell you how to suck less. That's for sure.
I could use it.
Yeah.
But
Me
by the
too.
14th hole, I was laying down in the golf cart asleep. And Kev said, bro, are you all right? I said, I think it's just my allergies, whatever. Next day, I wound up, my wife found me dead in my bedroom. They didn't know what was wrong. My wife said I had no real health issues, whatever. I wound up in Jersey Shore in ICU. They asked me if I had cancer. And this is when I woke up and I'm hooked up to a bunch of shit. I said, no, I don't have cancer that I know of. And my white blood cells were so high from fighting the pneumonia infection. That's how fucked up I was, that they thought I was battling something terminal. Yep. But, that's why I couldn't qualify for life insurance. But I ignored sitting down with an agent to set up stuff for my kids because I didn't want to confront the fact of how fucked up I was. Now I sit here a year in with Robbie Leaks, a year into investing in myself health-wise.
Good, bro.
My triglycerides are, now I go for blood work next week, but they were sub 800 down from 3,000. My cholesterol was good. My A1C was, last high triglyceride session, my A1C was 13. It was down to a 5.8 last set of blood work. So like, I think I'm almost insurable now. But that all came from, and I'm not on any meds anymore either. All the doctors wanted to do, there were no solutions. Take this, take that. And this wouldn't work, that wouldn't work. So I start with Robbie. And Robbie's not a nutritionist, but he's got a functional knowledge. And we went back and forth. And instead of him tweaking meds like a doctor, he tweaked my diet.
Yep, that's huge.
And
that's what Evan and I were talking about before we started shooting.
It's enormous. And like, just listening to what I was eating and how I was eating, and he honed me in, and he gave me a pretty strict regimen, and I've maybe lost 3 pounds, but my whole body is transformed.
Body comp is different.
Yeah, and
that's why I say I'm not even worried about the scale.
Yep.
Like I told you guys, I've been running a shitload. I'm less than I've been. I don't like to be under 170, but I'm definitely under 170.
Yeah.
I haven't stepped on a scale in a few weeks. I was 169. I used to walk around like 180, 185. But I'm definitely probably mid 70s right now, but I'm firing at all cylinders. So fuck the scale.
I mean,
like,
right
it is what
now,
it is.
I wake up and I weigh between 199
Do you weigh
and
yourself
201.
frequently? Like every day?
Twice a week, probably,
Yeah.
just to
How
get an
about you?
idea.
I worked with a coach. Like, everybody's different, right?
Yeah.
He wanted me on the scale every day, but it was
Right.
supposed to be not to care about the scale, but just to see how, like, you could eat great one day. And if you just have a little extra stress, you're going to hold on to some water. And
Ooh, I like that,
so it's
the
not
stress
about,
component.
It's the opposite. It's
Yeah.
not supposed to be about caring about the scale. It's about to
Right.
see how the scale sometimes does some tricky stuff.
Yeah.
So what he meant was, like, say you have a great week, right? You're thinking you're going to lose 3 pounds. The night before, you drink a water a little bit later, you had a little stress, you didn't sleep that well. You step on the scale because you're only doing it once a week and you gain 2 pounds. So now you're discouraged and you're saying, oh, I quit.
That's
really,
where-
you didn't gain 2 pounds.
Yeah.
You're just holding on to a little extra water. So he did it that way.
Now, were you a
Sidey's the
stress eater?
opposite. Oh man, so like
That's how that was my
food-
drug of choice.
Yeah.
Was fucking food.
We've
bro.
talked to. I've texted you and Lex before. Like, I got to rat on myself sometimes. Like, I eat like I used to drug. So like, I go on binges, and when I go on binges, like weird stuff. Like, so I'll go tell my girl, "Oh, you want Taco Bell tonight? Yeah, fine. I'm only gonna get 2 burritos."
Yeah, you get her
I ate-
involved.
I
That's
ate
her.
4
Yeah,
on the
on the
ride.
way.
I hide the wrappers. So now I'm like actually hiding my food intake. My girl gets in the car 2 days later. She's like, "Where are these coming from?" So she thinks I ate 2 burritos. I ate 6. Like, I'm lying. I'm doing all the same things with drugs and alcohol. Yeah, maybe it won't kill me as fast,
But it will
kill you. Yeah,
I can speak on that because I know how I felt. But I had a banana split yesterday. I had a stressful Monday and Tuesday. The ice cream man pops up at Certified. Usually I say no. Usually I'm good. But yesterday I fucked around and had a banana split.
Okay.
Now, what's funny is I'm teetering on that point of having abs one day. Not abs like Pete, but like
Why not? It could happen.
they're not there.
Who
but
said fossil abs? That was last week.
I don't know.
No, that was literally last week.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, Keith. Keith said his wife referred to him as fossil
Yeah.
abs, where sometimes you got to dust them off a little bit, get to the gym a little bit. They're under there.
But like
Well, at
mine,
least that they're there. I don't know. What do you call mine? I'm not too sure.
I can have them this morning, eat, and they're gone tomorrow. So like I'm at that weird stage where I could tell just taking my shirt off and looking in the mirror if I was fucking up yesterday.
Yo, I am so body dysmorphed. Me and my friends went to Pete and Elda Saturday night. I put down a whole pepperoni, and like the lining of my stomach has shrunk from like the intermittent fasting and like all these things I've been doing lately.
And you still were able to put down that big of a pizza.
Yeah, bro, which I was surprised about, and I had zero confidence on that. So anyway, I put down like this large pepperoni.
How did you feel after that, by the way?
You know what? It was all right. Surprisingly, it was all
One time
right.
when
The
you're
week
eating right,
before,
you're okay.
Yeah, the week before, I got like that couch fucking
Yep.
taco
Yeah.
cake. It was my son's birthday,
Yep.
and I was on the couch. I felt like shit. This pizza wasn't too bad, but I put down the whole pepperoni. Then we go out and get ice cream, and I got this Cookie Monster large joint with the M&Ms on top. Slugged that whole thing, and like on the ride home, I was just like, well. Guess you don't have a 6-pack anymore. Hey, you're fucking loser. And then there's like, it was a Saturday night. I had practice the next morning. What I did notice though is sweating like a motherfucker at practice after eating like that.
Like
But
it increases your
sweating out that
temperature.
toxins,
Yeah,
for sure.
You know what I feel like sometimes when I eat like shit? You guys have seen Dodgeball? When Ben Stiller's putting the pizza down his pants.
Yeah, with the buzzer and shit.
And then he's sitting there at the end and he's like, fuck you, Chuck Norris, while he's eating like gallons of ice
He's all
cream.
fat at that time.
Bro, like sometimes I feel like that because my wife says I have body dysmorphia. Now, I don't think I do. I think I'm pretty realistic. I just have high standards at this point. A year ago, I didn't give a fuck what I ate.
Right.
Now I'm real conscious of it. And my body, I know, like if I wake up to piss in the middle of the night, I know my blood sugar's high.
Okay.
Like I know there's certain things that I know that I have to cut back at that point. So tapping into me has benefited significantly. And if I had that outlook last June,
It's okay.
I wouldn't have been found in the position I was in.
That's okay. You were found in that position, like we said, for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, to get you better. You got anything else? You got anything more for us that you want to share, or anything about your
He's got
journey?
so much more, I feel like.
Yeah, well, you know what? And I thank you for. I know today was supposed to speak about myself, but I just
was
love
great
BSing
banter.
with you guys.
Yeah,
and
same.
I have been working on my listening skills because I get excited and I just want to like dominate conversations. But I guess just to end it, one thing that you said, it's sometimes like the despair while we're going through, like I make this joke with God, like I'll be going through something and I just, God, like, thank you. I know I'm growing, but if you could just take it a little easy on me,
Yeah.
because you're like really laying it thick, but like you're telling me about how you almost died.
Yeah.
You've told me your story.
Not almost, bro. I was dead.
dead.
I got
That's
fucking
We were calling him the Ghost of
resuscitated,
Billy.
bro.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I got resuscitated, and I came out of there with like a whole new. He came to my house. We sat in my backyard, and like I needed some time to recover. My lungs were fucked up for probably about a month and a half, but that was mid-June, and we got in here. What was our first week? End of August, beginning of September. But he came to my house. I said, bro, we got to do this podcast. Like, you know, it put a lot of things in perspective for me.
So
But
it
go ahead,
sounded
I
like
didn't
you were
mean
going to tell us something.
Yeah, it was 18 years old. It was right after I graduated high school. I'm supposed to be going to college like a week later. First and last time I ever tried heroin. Overdosed in my jacuzzi with two other guys. We're waiting for some girls to come by. I go underneath the water. They're nodding out. Everybody's high. I'm underwater for minutes before somebody, like, first of all, they could have left and they wouldn't have gotten arrested and I would have been dead. I was underneath the water. They pulled me out, call the cops, bring me to the hospital. I wake up, chained to the bed, life support on, and I have no idea like what happened. I'm thinking, fuck, I got alcohol poisoning for the first time. Like, this is gonna suck. My mom asked me, like, do you know what day it is? I'm like, yeah, it's Monday. It was a Sunday night. She's like, it's Wednesday. You've been in a coma. You flatlined twice. And like, I wish I could say that was the last time that I drank or used, but like, so that time was the time, okay, well, I'm never gonna do it downer again, right? That saved my life, because I know me. If that would have went well,
You would have been on that shit.
that's it.
And you
That's
certainly
it.
would not have been here today.
That's
You
it.
might not even be on this
So
planet.
sometimes, like, just like, I just want to leave it with, sometimes like that despair, like, it's not fun, and it's okay that it's not fun going through it. Like, we don't have to like it, but like, if we can get to that other side, like, how much
Yeah.
better does it feel when we get there?
Hell yeah. And now you're not only on the other side, but now you got the Inner Champ LLC. You're firing at all cylinders. You're not perfect. We never will be. You got baby number 2 on the way.
Which is such a
that is
blessing,
such
bro.
a blessing, dude. That is so incredible. Thank you for sharing that at the end. We should have started with that, bro. Damn. We almost cut this shit off without him saying that.
We had a nice conversation, man. I just,
Gosh.
We got to get Matt back on.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we can
Matt
really
and I have
get,
been
like,
on the
the
phone,
rest
a
of
bunch
the
of phone
story.
calls that will start out with like some type of real estate transaction
Yeah.
and end up with like an hour-long
yeah,
conversation.
we just know how to kind of chop it up. Well, listen,
Absolutely.
Yeah, but that's what this was. This was just three
Yeah.
dudes that get along fucking just bullshit.
Yep.
I mean,
yeah.
I wish we got to hear more of your story, but
Well, listen, I'll be grateful for when that opportunity comes. But until then, I'm just going to be a fan because I love what you guys are doing, man.
Appreciate it.
You're not a fan. You're part of this fucking family.
Every single one
here.
I get to listen to, man. It just and there are people. Just so you know, what did you guys say? You just, if there was just one person you got to, well, you got to me, man.
I thought of that.
You got to a few hundred more, but I could at least say through proof you got to me. So thank you guys so
I
much.
love it.
Appreciate it, man. I actually thought about that while you were telling us to your family. Like, well, at least we got one person. Well, three.
Yeah.
3 total.
I'm on
At
board,
least
man.
people we know have been.
We're helping somebody,
reap some
even if it's
benefits
just
here.
the 3 of us.
So I keep picturing, and I haven't talked to you and Evan about this, and I know I was originally saying that I want to get all previous guests to Thrive.
Yeah.
Thrive is a little bit limited, but I'm thinking maybe now as we kind of move forward and the weather's a little bit nicer, maybe we schedule something with all the previous guests that we all go somewhere.
So-
Whether it be a self-improvement place, we could meet at Certified for Pizza, we can kind of brainstorm after
actually-
camera. There's enough room for like 30?
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
25 so far.
Or, I mean, we could call the Bear and the Birch, or maybe we can even just go to like a pool club or something.
That's what I mean. We can go anywhere, but we're going to get that rolling.
We got to do something.
We're going to get that rolling.
I am
Get
putting
everybody
a
under
swimming
one
pool
roof.
at my house.
Okay.
I'm hoping this year. I have the pool guy coming.
All right, we'll go to Billy's backyard.
If it's quick enough, we could go to my house every weekend and have like a little reconnect
Call
session.
him now. Tell him we need that pool ASAP.
I got to call Josh Knox.
No,
It's
just
his
playing.
boy.
Oh, Knox
Now
is the
you're all
man.
fired up. Now you're
Hell
going to
yeah.
call,
Yeah, we're gonna get on the phone. But maybe M.
Modern man's party, baby.
Where's the dog? Oh, Tom. Maybe after this, should she call Thrive, or like, is there somebody she should talk to? All right, so Ev could coordinate with Thrive, but maybe you could call like the Bear and the Birch, see if they could accommodate even. I mean, it's a little bigger space.
Yeah, let's start with Thrive. Thrive's our boy.
Listen, I love Thrive.
Yeah, Thrive's our boy.
I signed up at Triumph in Ocean for Wrestling for Max strictly because there's a Thrive banner on the wall, and so I'm loyal to Thrive. But do you think everybody will fit?
We'll figure it out after camera.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for joining.
Click the links, like, share, subscribe. We appreciate any and all support you guys could give us. If you got questions, send us a message. Shoot us an email. You guys could see the links in the videos. Hit up Matt, hit me up, hit up Ev, hit up Pete. I open it up to everybody, get a workout, get some support, whatever. Let's build our networks and get stronger together. Have a great day. We'll see you guys next week.
Let's go.
Matty.
Yeah, kid.
That was awesome, man. Thank you